My parents wanted my brother to give the first toast at my wedding, a full best man speech, even though he wasn't in the party. So my wife pretended to help them, got them to fund the whole thing, and their scheme collapsed. My parents loved my brother more, and not subtly. If he accused me of something, they believed it instantly. If I accused him, I was lying, even with proof. My birthday dinners were always at his favorite restaurant. He got a little more of everything, always. He grew up spoiled and treated me like a doormat. When I was finishing high school, my mom sat me down and explained that since they were covering my brother's tuition, there was nothing left for mine. Better for me to work right away and wait until he graduated to see if they could manage something. If I stayed home, I'd pay rent and part of the bills. I mentioned student loans. She said no, because they cared so much and my judgment was so poor, they'd decide whether college was worth the debt. They had no idea about my grades and never believed I could do anything. I never bought that they'd pay if I waited. I'd been preparing for years because I saw college as my one way out. I worked myself to the bone and earned a scholarship to a solid school. Knowing my brother would hate it, I posted my achievement the same moment I told them and forced myself to thank them in the caption. They were furious and could do nothing. College saved me. I started to be happy. That's when I met my wife, the kind of person who claps back instantly and loves untangling a mess. When we talked marriage, we agreed we didn't care much about a big ceremony. We'd rather put the money toward a dream trip abroad. We sent out save the dates. My parents demanded to meet her, grumbled about my judgment, then grandly announced they'd pay for the wedding, on one condition. My brother would give the opening speech, a full best man address at the reception. Their reasoning: it wasn't right for a younger sibling to be overshadowed, so it was only fair he got the spotlight, the microphone, the photos of him center stage. My wife went to my parents privately. She said she'd felt me out and worried I wouldn't go for it, but she personally didn't see the problem and would happily help them pull it off. She pointed out I hate conflict, so if I were surprised on the day, I wouldn't make a scene in front of everyone. Her suggested compromise: they'd cover the costs, which would leave me too grateful to object. And so began months of glorious deception, my family thinking they were tricking me while my wife and I quietly milked them dry. My parents wanted input on everything. We'd tour venues and pick the cheapest option. My wife would then bring my brother along to see it, sigh and murmur, "Such a shame we don't want to take advantage of your parents' generosity." Cue my brother demanding they pay for the best. My parents would tell me not to worry. They'd cover the premium package. Same with the caterer. My wife let my brother sample the top-tier menu, then sadly mentioned I'd settled for the bargain one. My parents insisted on the expensive spread. Same with the band, the flowers, the open bar. We had a lavish wedding and barely spent a cent of our own. We called it compensation for a childhood of coming second. Their actual plan was this: my brother would arrive right before the reception's key moment, take the mic before I could, and deliver his big speech to a seated crowd, making himself the star of my wedding. They'd coordinated the timing down to the minute, but my wife had told the venue coordinator and the MC the real order of events days earlier. When my brother texted my mom that he was 5 minutes out, and my dad signaled the staff to get ready for the speech, the MC simply moved straight into introducing us, the actual married couple, for our first dance. My brother walked in mid-song to a room already focused entirely on us. Mic nowhere in reach, no slot for him at all. My dad stood there stunned. My mom's face fell. There was no scene, no confrontation, just my brother standing awkwardly at the back while everyone applauded the newlyweds, exactly as a wedding should go. Afterward, my family blew up my wife's phone, and then mine, furious that their setup had failed. When they started hinting they'd make sure our honeymoon wasn't so smooth, my wife calmly forwarded every screenshot from the planning months, my brother demanding upgrades, my parents agreeing to pay, to the wider family. Suddenly, relatives who'd have taken their side saw exactly who'd been scheming. Since then, silence. We took our dream trip. It was perfect. They spent a fortune trying to make my wedding about my brother. Instead, they paid for the best day of my life.